Cadia, a world the Imperium considered sacred, immovable, eternal. To me, it was simply promising. I arrived not as a savior nor as an enemy, but as a curator, a connoisseur of history's most exquisite disasters. Even before the first shells fell, I could feel the weight of significance pressing against reality. Humans saw a fortress. I saw a future exhibit, a grand showcase waiting to be acquired. The frantic mustering of regiments, the trembling tension in the air, the cracks forming in the veil of the warp, each one a delightful hint that fate was preparing something collectible. As the opening volleys screamed across the Cadian sky, I made my initial observations. The planet's defenders, valiant, predictable, tragically earnest, arranged themselves on the stage. To them, this was war. To me, it was a performance. A poorly rehearsed one, admittedly, but the imperfections lent it charm. Desperation always does. The Imperium scrambled, sweating and swearing and praying, each action adding to the raw aesthetic value of the coming catastrophe. I took note of the flaring anomalies around the pylons, of shifting warp currents, of soldiers shouting in defiance as their shadows danced across crumbling bastions. All potential artifacts, all future placards in my archives. And naturally, I offered commentary. Quiet, amused, entirely impartial. Watching humans insist that Cadia stands was like watching a grot swear it could lift a monolith. Admirable. Wrong, but admirable. The violence blossomed beautifully. Chaos spilled across the surface like an overturned pot of fresh paint. Violent reds, sickly greens, shimmering blues. I catalogued the carnage as it unfolded. The last stand of the 8th Cadian, a tank commander's final charge, a sororitas shrine cracking open like an egg. Each was an event of historical importance, yes, but more importantly, each had excellent display potential. There is a particular aesthetic to annihilation when observed with the proper eye. The arcs of artillery fire, the symmetrical collapse of battlements, the sudden flash of a broken reality tear as demons claw their way through. I almost applauded. Of course, the combatants did not notice me. Or if they did, they assumed I was some manner of hallucination, which was perfectly acceptable. Their struggles were temporary. My acquisitions would be eternal. For a fleeting moment, I even considered rescuing a rare Cadian officer whose tactical brilliance was mildly impressive. But the opportunity slipped through rubble and fire. A shame. He would have made an excellent centerpiece. And then came the true turning point. The moment when spectacle became masterpiece. The pylons, my beloved alien constructs, older than the Imperium by epochs, began to strain. Their energy thrummed with ancient resonance, bending under the weight of Abaddon's assault. I observed their destabilization with profound fascination. To witness a Necron artifact, my heritage, unravel under such cosmic stress was educational. Credit where credit is due. Abaddon, for all his melodrama, does possess a certain destructive artistry. His method was unsubtle, his theatrics excessive, but the results impressive. The annihilation he sculpted across Cadia's crust was almost graceful. As the world buckled, I made my attempts to secure smaller treasures. Shrapnel from a shattered pylon, the last vox logs of dying heroes, a laser gun melted into a perfect spiral by warp flame. Even the molecular imprint of Cadian bedrock as it began to fracture. Oh, that was a rare treat. And then, finally, the planet broke. The sky became a whirlpool of madness. The land cracked open like old stone. The once unshakable fortress world twisted, groaned, and tore apart. I watched with detached awe as continents folded in on themselves, as oceans climbed upwards in defiance of physics, as Cadia's core exposed itself in a final, blinding agony. To mourn would have been illogical. To admire, however, was appropriate. When the dust settled and the screams faded, I drifted through the debris. The silence was delightful, an archivist's paradise. Every ruined fragment whispered secrets. Every corpse, every melted weapon, every chunk of pylon housed history begging to be preserved. And I preserved it. In my gallery, there will soon stand a monumental exhibit, a holographic reconstruction of Cadia's final moments, painted with precision. Around it, the artifacts I salvaged, heroic relics, catastrophic debris, and the shimmering remnants of a world that once dared declare itself eternal. Cadia stands in my collection.